Hey friends, market failure refers to the failure of the market to allocate resources efficiently, and this results in allocative inefficiency. So this means that goods can be overproduced or overconsumed, or underproduced or underconsumed. So for example, too many petrol cars in a city leads to lots of emissions and carbon dioxide, which then in turn lead to global warming. So this shows how consuming too many cars beyond what is socially optimal in a society could lead to negative health effects. Also, this overconsumption of petrol cars can affect both drivers and non-drivers who do not own a petrol car. And this shows how allocative inefficiency can affect people who are not part of the decision to own or drive a petrol car. We call these externalities. Externalities occur when decisions by consumers or producers affect a third party or group who are not involved in making this decision, but this third party, this group are still affected. So in discussing market failure in this chapter, we must remember two groups of people. And by extension, we must remember to discuss these two groups of people in our answers. The first group of people would be the private group of the decision maker consumers or producers, as we see in point 1 over here. The second group would be broader society as a whole, so the people who are not involved in making the decision, but are still somehow affected by the decision. So translating this into diagrams, when drawing diagrams, we recall that the demand curve is also a benefits curve, while the supply curve is a cost curve. So in diagrams, we label the decision maker consumers as receiving a marginal private benefit or MPB, while the broader society group who are not part of the decision making as the marginal social benefit or the MSB. Conversely, we label decision maker producers as incurring a marginal private cost, also known as MPC, while the broader society group who are not part of the decision as incurring marginal social costs, which is MSC. So in the example of petrol cars earlier, cars are consumed by drivers. So we can say that the private benefits of cars received by drivers are higher than the benefits that petrol cars bring to society as a whole. Society does benefit from an optimal amount of cars on the road, but the overconsumption of petrol cars could lead to harmful externalities, especially in terms of carbon emissions or people's health. But while these externalities sound quite negative or harmful in this particular example, they don't actually always have to be negative or harmful. We will be exploring more externalities in the later videos. But for now, let me just introduce to you the 4 key externalities in the IB Economics syllabus. The first one would be negative production externalities, or NPE, as we see in this first quadrant. The second type of externalities will be negative consumption externalities, we see in quadrant 2. The third type of externalities will be positive production externalities, which is quadrant 3. And the final type of externalities in the IB Economics syllabus would be positive consumption externalities, which is quadrant 4.